So back in early 2020, when the whole world was just starting to panic about the pandemic, there was one country whose response was, well, it was a masterclass. We're going to dive into the story of how Vietnam took on COVID-19, and this all comes from a really fascinating case study in Muhammad Abdullah's book, Case Studies for Young Learners.
And this quote, it just sets the stage perfectly. It really captures that spirit of community and shared responsibility that we're about to get into. It frames their whole response in this really human way.
Okay, so let's rewind a bit. Think back to late 2019. Most of us were just thinking about the holidays, right? But behind the scenes, this mysterious new virus was starting to bubble up. Of course, we'd all come to know it as COVID-19. And man, it spread fast. I mean, terrifyingly fast. It led to so much sickness, death, and just this wave of panic that washed over the entire planet.
And just like that, every single country was basically on a battlefield fighting an enemy they couldn't even see. The results? They were all over the place. Some countries really got a handle on it, while others, well, they really struggled.
All right, so now let's zoom in on Vietnam. Because in the middle of all that global chaos, Vietnam really stands out. They were one of the countries that did an incredible job protecting their people. And look, this wasn't just luck. Their story is a powerful lesson in thinking ahead, being prepared, and taking real decisive action.
Which, of course, brings us to the big question, right? How did they pull it off? What was their secret sauce? What made their approach work so well when so many other places were having such a hard time? It all came down to being proactive. It sounds simple, but it was so powerful. First, they gathered intel. They grabbed every bit of information they could get from China right at the beginning. Then, that information shaped their policies, strong, fast policies. And finally, they made sure to educate the public so everyone knew what was going on and why. This wasn't them reacting to a crisis, it was like a preemptive strike. So all that early intel gathering, it led to this really powerful, unified response. The goal was basically to surround the virus from all sides. And what's super interesting is how they structured it. They built this comprehensive, three-pronged strategy. And here's a great way to picture it. It wasn't just one magic bullet. It was a combination of three key things: strong government policies, really decisive actions in healthcare, and, this is so important, economic support for the people. So let's break each one of these down.
Okay, pillar number 1, strong government policies. We're not talking about endless debates or waiting around. This was all about immediate, decisive action. This was the foundation, the very bedrock that let them get control of the spread so fast.
And they did not mess around. They rolled out strict lockdowns to stop people from moving around. They slammed the brakes on travel to stop new cases from coming in. And they enforced really clear social distancing rules to, break the chain of transmission.
But look, policies on their own are never enough, right? So that brings us to the second pillar, a massive healthcare effort. This is where their public health system just went into overdrive. They weren't just trying to contain the virus, they were actively hunting it down.
They basically set up this multi-layered defense. They did mass testing to find cases fast. Then, and this is so critical, they did contact tracing to find everyone that person might have exposed. From there, it was strict quarantine and isolation for anyone affected. And later, when vaccines showed up, they were super smart about it. They started with healthcare workers and the elderly, the most vulnerable, before rolling it out to everybody else.
Now, this next part is absolutely crucial. Vietnam got something that a lot of places struggled with. You can't separate public health from economic health. A lockdown is great, but it only works if people can actually afford to stay home. And that's why their third pillar was all about economic support, making sure people and businesses could survive the shutdown.
They really tried to make sure no one fell through the cracks. The government gave out direct financial help. They offered tax breaks, and they helped with loans. They basically created a safety net for the people who were hit the hardest. Okay, now we get to what might be the most unique part of their whole strategy. It's all about public education. See, Vietnam knew that rules and policies are useless if people don't understand them or don't want to follow them. So they turned to something simple, powerful, and honestly, kind of brilliant. They used a song. Yeah, the Vietnamese health department put out this song. And just listen to these lyrics. They're so clear, so direct. Right away, it tells you what the virus is and where it came from. Bam, instant awareness. Then the song shifts, right? It becomes a call to action. But it's not trying to scare you. It's trying to create this feeling of we're all in this together. It's about being determinate, It basically told people, hey, you have the power to stop this. Your vigilance is what matters.
And then it gave super practical, just simple, easy-to-remember instructions. Let's wash our hands. Rub, 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 rub them. How catchy is that? It's something anyone, even a little kid, can remember. And just like that, you've communicated one of the most important things people need to do.
And to wrap it up, the song reinforces the other big things. Limit going to crowded places. Stay healthy. It's a whole package. It's saying, take care of yourself, take care of the space around you, and together, we can beat this. It's just a brilliant piece of public health communication. Seriously.
So when you look at all this, what's the big takeaway? What can we learn? Well, Vietnam's success wasn't some kind of miracle. It was the result of a really smart, well-thought-out, and well-executed plan.
When you really boil it down, their success in those early waves came from three things. 1, being proactive and gathering intelligence, so they were never surprised. 2, taking decisive action on all fronts, government, healthcare, and the economy. And 3, crystal clear communication that got everybody on the same page.
And that kind of leaves us with one final big question to think about, doesn't it? In a world that can feel so divided sometimes, what does a story like Vietnam's teach us? What's really possible when you have clear communication, strong leadership, and a public that comes together to face a threat as one?